In this video, I'm going to be discussing how to set up a template for team-only images if you want to batch process those through Sports Photo Automation. Now, the first thing is, if you're using Easy Team Builder, I think it's often better to put the Easy Team layer directly into your template and build the team into your template. That way you can position and scale and move things around to fit that template each time. And I think that's a little bit easier than running through Sports Photo Automation to add the teams. However, I realize there's times where you may want to use Sports Photo Automation to add the teams. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do here. Now, this works the same whether you're using a PicSnub template like we have here or whether you're using your own. Sports Photo Automation is going to work the same regardless, so the layers have to be set up the same. And this is not really intuitive for team-only images because of how Sports Photo Automation works. The Sports Photo Automation plugin requires a Player 1 setup to run. The Player 1 image is the primary image for the composites, and if it doesn't have a setup for Player 1, it's not going to run at all when you try to batch it. So for the case of team-only composites, there is no player image. There's only a team image. So what you'll need to do is use the Player 1 setup for where you put the team. And that's actually a little bit easier to batch anyway, as well as the CSV is going to be simpler as well. So it's actually better, other than the fact that it's going to say Player 1 in here. That's the only thing. So I'll take you through this step by step. And with the PicSnub template, it'll come with this in any of the new releases I make. But if you're setting up your own, you won't have that. So you have to go into the Sports Photo Automation under the Setup PSD template section. And under the player slot, select player slot 1. Alignment mode, typically you'll use 9. You can use 10 as well, but most often 9. Mode 9 for the player setup works exactly the same as mode 1 for the team setup. Mode 10 for the player setup works exactly like mode 2 will work for the team. So you'll have to first set the size that it's going to bring in the smart object. And typically you'll want to use the exact dimensions of your template if it's a team image. So that's what I'll do here. And then hit Add Player Layer Group. And you can see that it's added this group to the exact dimensions of the template. And so you want to move that in place, so make sure you grab the whole folder and not just the image itself, but the whole group folder, and move that where you want it. Now, right now the template is set up and it will work because it will erase what's inside of that smart object and it will replace it with the team. But just for visual appearances on the template, you probably want to put a team in there and then save the template. So I know it's intuitive to want to hit Add Custom Team Image, but you'll hit Add Custom Player Image because remember, we're treating this as if it was a player setup. Okay, now we could save the template and it would be ready to batch process. Now, a couple of things here, or just one thing anyway I wanted to discuss. When you build your teams and you're doing it this way, you want to make sure you're not cropping right on the edges of the team, because remember, in the template we set this up with this smart object being the exact size of the template. So it's going to fit it into the template and keep any margins we have. So if we'd crop the team right to the edge, that team would end up going all the way head to toe. Like if we were to crop the team like this, then the top of the head would end up in the top of the template. So when you're building your teams, just make sure you're building those, you need to make sure you build the teams into a document that's the exact same size. So in this case, the document itself is 6,000 pixels by 4,800 pixels. This matches the template size, which also matches the smart object size. And then you make sure you keep the white space around the edges what it needs to be to give proper spacing in the template. So if you do that when you batch process, everything is going to work. But that's why I say I think it's easier most of the time just to build it into the document with Easy Team Builder. That way, once it pulls a team in, you can adjust right there for any spacing you want. All right, so when you process through Sports Photo Automation, after you went and built all of your blank documents, when you run the batch processing, you're not going to go in and use this team image file. So don't click on memory mates because we're not building memory mates, because that's going to look for a player and a team. And so you don't use this. A lot of times people know this is the only place they can select a team file in here, so they'll click memory mates and try to use that. Don't do that. When you're building your CSV, if you're using a CSV, CSV is optional for this. You don't have to have it, but if you're using a CSV, your team files will go in this first column, which is normally where the player images go, but this is where your team images will go. So under the SPA column, just have your team images, and you're not going to put in the separate team file column for your teams. That's not needed. That's only needed for memory mates. But for the sake of team only images, just in column A. And when you batch, if you're not using a CSV, or if you're using a CSV, either one, whatever you click on for this player images folder, you're actually selecting the folder of images that has your teams. And then, of course, the save folder in the template file will be the exact same as if you run it individual too. So the only thing you need to do to run this way is click these three buttons, and then if you weren't replacing text, you would not need a CSV. Only use a CSV if you're actually replacing text. More or less, this runs identically to if you were doing an individual player image setup. Anyway, hope that helps. I know this has been an area of confusion. Every few weeks it seems somebody hits me up with this, so I've really needed to make a video for this for a long time. So thanks for watching.